Hello again, everyone. Hope you are well. On this Sunday afternoon, it is August 4th, if you can believe that. On the way to gas up Mrs. Dawg's car. I'm in the RAV, so I'm not in the truck today, but gassing it up. And Mrs. Dawg, say a little prayer for her. She's got to drive into Atlanta to work for the next 5 days, this coming Monday, starting tomorrow through Friday. So she has to drive into Gwinnett County, not exactly downtown Atlanta, but it's quite a drive, and I-85 is no fun. Those of you who have driven it and drive it, you know what I'm talking about. So keep her in mind. All right. So much going on, like I said yesterday. 2 areas for sure that I'm looking at. Well, 3. Of course, the Middle East. England. Oh my gosh, y'all. Have y'all been keeping up with that? England has awakened. Now, we'll see what happens. Also, Venezuela. Wow. That is a bit unclear how that's going to turn out. You know, I think we have a power struggle down there. But, gosh, after it was obvious what happened with their election down there, yeah, the people are pissed, and they should be. Makes me think, is this coming to America? I believe it is. At least to a certain extent. Now, is it going to be exactly like what's happening in these places? We don't know. We just don't know. But it's interesting. And I believe it is a foreshadowing of what is coming here. I mean, granted, we are a much larger country. We're spread out, especially when you compare it to England. But we will see. But, man, before I forget, I do have a very good passage I'm going to share that it will resonate with you for sure, so stay tuned for that. But yes, in Venezuela, of course, the Maduro won again as far as election, and it's funny how it turned out. From the way I understand it, things turned around in the middle of the night, kind of like something else we've heard of, right? That we remember from a few years ago. Yeah, but the people are in revolt, and there's an opposition leader, and if you have a strong opposition leader, anything can happen. We'll see, but that's interesting to watch. But freedom is trying to make a run there, and we'll just see. But things look pretty out of control in a lot of parts of that, especially in the capital. I think it was Caracas and some other parts of Venezuela as well. So we'll watch that. England, oh my goodness, I haven't followed Venezuela as much as I have England. Parts of England look totally out of control, y'all. I mean, it looks like, I don't know what else you can compare it to, but it looks pretty close to just civil war. It really does. And there's a couple of interesting parts about it that I wanted to bring about. But the people are awakened. They're fed up. And it looks like the last straw was this despicable and horrible, horrid murder of children. Y'all, last week, I forget what day it was, but, and I think this is something, it's been brewing for quite a while as far as this, anger, which, yeah, I mean, you got to wake up. You're going to lose your country. I've been saying for a while, Europe, you got to wake up fast because you're losing your countries over there. And England, for sure. And I think this last week was the last straw, and people have had enough. Their back's against the wall. They see the writing on the wall, and they know they got to do something. And this is when, when your backs are against the wall, it will happen here. It's just a matter of time. When you see what's coming, and it's coming like a freight train, and if you don't act, if you just stay quiet all the time and do nothing, you'll lose it. You absolutely lose it. You got to be smart about it. But they're at the end of the rope. Their livelihood, their country is slipping away. And their leadership is so weak and corrupted that it looks like they're wanting it to be like that. The interesting thing, and if you're following it a little bit, there's some live feeds that are going on, and not just one city. It's a lot of places. I saw where a mob was attacking, basically, that's the way I can describe it, attacking I think it was a Holiday Inn Express where they're keeping migrants. You know, I mean, this is what happens when you have no borders and you give the farm away. And it's happening here. You know, I mean, you know, you got people who can't make the ends meet. I'm hearing from y'all a lot. I mean, you know, especially older people on a fixed income, or you're trying to retire, you've worked all your life doing the right thing, working your A off, and you know, this happens like somebody strolls in here against the law, given all this stuff, including jobs, if they're even doing that. They're not going to integrate. It's a destruction of the culture. It's a destruction of the country, systematically. And, you know, at some point, what do you do, right? So, they're done. The people are done with that. We'll see what happens. I mean, and the very interesting part about this, and to a certain extent, you're seeing it here, is the labeling. So the folks who are saying we've had enough of this, they don't know what else to do. You know, what are you going to do? You can't vote this out. You can't write your Congress. You can't write your representative out. You can't change things by making phone calls, emails, right? That doesn't work, y'all. So what do you do in voting? I don't, you know, what does it do? So they've gone to the streets. You know, I mean, and so the leadership, the government is demonizing the folks, the people, labeling them extremist, far right. Every article I read about it says far right, you know, just trashing them and labeling them. And, you know, is destruction of property, you know, assaulting police? Yeah, that's against the law. Yeah. I'm not condoning violence. But the interesting thing about it is they're all one side of the government, the media. They're labeling them as far right, extremist. Heard that before, haven't you? So that's their strategy. So far, it hasn't stopped them from being in the streets. So that's something to follow, y'all. Is that going to happen here? It will eventually. I do believe. On some scale. Again, we're a much different, larger country. We're so spread out. But you're already seeing the labeling, like I mentioned yesterday, the media, the government, most of it. I know not all of it. But there is this huge effort to, if you want to step out of line, if you want to speak your mind, if you want to disagree with the narrative, you're an extremist. You're far right. If you don't agree with the camel, or if you are going to be in opposition, that's bad. You're bad. You're dangerous. You're far right. Criminal. So that's already starting here. It's an old thing. It's, you know, the division, and they're making it, and another thing, especially here, they're making it all about race. Which kind of backfired a little bit, but they're going to continue the narrative because a lot of people fall for it. They're going to make it all about race, which is despicable to me. It's very despicable. They would love a race war. They really would. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. Pray not. But they're really driving the hammer down on that. The hammer of division. Divide and conquer. That's their game. It's an old trick. It works. It's a very old tactic. It really is. But you're really seeing it here. It's all about the race, division, labeling, demonizing, dehumanizing. Dehumanize your population. Label it. It's very dangerous. An extremely, extremely dangerous road to travel down. We're seeing it in England. And they don't have the Second Amendment there. Not like we do here. So it makes it even more of a torch. I don't know, torch is not the right word. I'd say more of a fuse. Tinderbox. Because you got the Second Amendment here. It's not like, I don't know, it may start out, we got people in the streets, you've seen in England, fist fights, knives, hammers, machetes, whatever. Here would be a little different. You're going to have the kinetic type of defense. You know what I mean? So it can be extremely messy. It's an extremely dangerous road. They're walking us down, and something to keep an eye on. Let's keep it in prayer, y'all. Praying for peaceful change. We need it. Leadership, real leadership. Adults in the room got to stand up. But I've just noticed that there are people in the media. I won't name names, but there are people in the big media, the talking heads that I used to watch. They used to make sense, y'all. You could even say they were probably conservative. They were actually. They leaned conservative at the very least. It made sense. But now, I don't recognize them. Even physically, some of them look so fit. And of course, they age. But physically, they look like some warped clown of what they were. It's weird. The Scarborough character? I can remember, I'm old. I can remember when this dude was on TV and made some sense. Sprkanish on CNN, I think. Dude used to make some sense. What happened to them? All I can figure is, I don't know, did they sell their soul? I don't know. They slipped some envelopes. But it's a turnaround, and it's a straight from hell looking thing. I don't know. But they make no sense whatsoever, looking at it even objectively and trying to give them benefit of the doubt. No. I don't know what happened to them. But it's something else to watch. Disturbing. But we need to stay close in our faith. I'm going to go to that here in a minute. But anyway, something to keep an eye on. And let's just stay faithful. We see what's coming. We really do. In November, it's going to happen, and we need to start thinking about. I know I'm hammering this. I'm harping on this, but we need to start thinking how we're gonna get through that. We are going to get through it. How are we going to navigate this? Okay. And make it through it. We can. We will. We need to really prepare for that. All right. Time is short. The hour is getting late. It really is, y'all. We're into August. So, however, God is still on the throne. This is the day the Lord has made. Rejoice. Absolutely. I'm in 1 Timothy chapter 6. Verse 3, starting with verse 3. 1 Timothy chapter 6. If anyone teaches false doctrines or does not agree to the sound instruction of our Lord Jesus Christ to godly teaching, he is conceited and understands nothing. He is an unhealthy interest in controversies and quarrels about words that result in envy, strife, malicious talk, evil suspicions, and constant friction between men of corrupt mind who have been robbed of the truth and who think that godliness is a means to financial gain. We see that. We see that a lot. False teaching, false prophets. We even see it in the ones who don't claim to be godly, or they're trying to replace God, like some of these talking heads, like a lot of talking heads on the cable programs. I don't know what happened to him, y'all. I don't know. Did they make a deal with the devil? I don't know. It sure looks like it. Man. Sure ain't worth it. Stay close to Jesus. At any cost. At any cost, we stay close to Jesus. Right? Let's be safe out there. Let's keep doing the things. Let's keep living our life. Be the light. Be the example. But be prepared. All right? Share your thoughts. God bless you. I'll see you soon.